The night was quiet. The moon hung high above Enfield, Illinois. A gentle breeze rustled through the trees. It was the kind of night that whispered of peace. It was the kind of night that hid secrets in its shadows. It was the kind of night that could turn deadly in a heartbeat.
Henry McDaniel sat on his porch swing. He took a long drag from his cigarette. The smoke curled upwards, a ghostly apparition against the dark sky. Henry sighed, a deep, rumbling sound. He loved the quiet of the night, the way it made the world seem to slow down. Little did he know tonight the world would spin into something far more sinister.
He closed his eyes, enjoying the cool night air. Suddenly, a sound pierced the silence. It was a high-pitched screech like nothing he'd ever heard before. His eyes flew open, his heart pounding in his chest. He stood up, his gaze sweeping the darkness. What he saw next would stay with him for the rest of his life.
A creature stood at the edge of the woods. It was tall and gangly, its limbs impossibly thin. Henry could see its silhouette against the moonlight, twisted and unnatural. It moved with a strange, jerky gait. Fear coiled in Henry's gut. He watched, frozen, as the creature stepped closer. Its eyes, two glowing orbs of pink, locked onto him. They burned with an eerie intelligence. Henry's breath caught in his throat. He couldn't move, couldn't speak. He could only stare as the creature edged closer.
It let out a screech, filled with primal rage. He stumbled back, tripping over his own feet. He landed hard on the porch. Then, it was gone. Henry gasped for breath on his porch.
Henry, still shaking, scrambled back to his feet. He rushed inside, slamming the door shut and fumbling for the lock. He leaned against the door, panting, his mind racing. What was that thing? Where did it come from?
He struggled to recall the creature's bizarre appearance. It walked upright like a man, but its body was all wrong. It was grotesquely thin, with long, spindly limbs that seemed to bend at unnatural angles. He remembered its arms, stubby and almost useless-looking, ending in three-fingered hands.
And those eyes. Henry could still see them burning in his mind's eye. They were a shocking pink, glowing with an internal luminescence that seemed to pierce through the darkness. They were the eyes of a predator, cold, calculating, and utterly inhuman. The most unsettling detail, the one that sent chills crawling down his spine even now, was its legs, or rather its lack thereof. The creature had only 3 legs, its body contorted in a way that defied logic and anatomy. It was a vision straight out of a nightmare, and it had left Henry utterly terrified.
The next morning, Henry called the police. He told them about the creature, about its glowing eyes and 3-legged gait. The officers listened patiently, but he could see the skepticism in their eyes.
Despite their doubts, the police investigated. They found strange footprints, 3-toed and much larger than any man's foot. Still, the police were left with a nagging feeling that something wasn't right. The news of Henry's encounter spread through Enfield like wildfire.
The story of the Enfield Monster spread beyond the town limits. Newspapers picked up the story, eager to capitalize on the sensational tale. Reporters and curiosity seekers descended upon Enfield.
The once quiet town was now abuzz with activity. Television crews set up their equipment on street corners. Their cameras pointed towards the woods. Tourists flocked to Henry's house, snapping pictures.
Enfield became synonymous with the monster. Locals gathered in hushed tones, sharing stories and theories. The truth remained elusive, hidden in the shadows.
The fear was palpable, seeping into the air. Parents kept their children indoors after dark. Doors that were once left unlocked were now bolted shut. The residents of Enfield were now united by a shared sense of dread.
Night after night, groups of brave or perhaps foolish locals ventured into the woods, armed with flashlights, cameras, and a healthy dose of fear. They hoped to catch a glimpse of the elusive creature, to prove its existence to the world, or perhaps to themselves.
These expeditions were fueled by a mixture of curiosity, adrenaline, and a strange sense of duty.
One night, A group of these self-proclaimed monster hunters claimed to have seen it. They described a fleeting glimpse of a tall, shadowy figure with glowing eyes, moving silently through the trees.
Their story, though met with skepticism by some, only served to further fuel the growing fear and fascination. The creature, however, never stayed long enough for a clear photograph or a detailed description. It would appear on the edges of sight, a fleeting shadow against the moonlight, before vanishing back into the darkness. Its elusiveness only added to its mystique, solidifying its place in local legend. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the creature vanished. The sighting stopped. The screeching sounds that had once haunted the night ceased. Enfield, once the epicenter of a media frenzy, slowly faded from the headlines. Life, as it always does, went on. The police investigation eventually went cold. The creature, whatever it was, left behind no further trace. The footprints and claw marks remained, silent testament to the terror that had gripped the town. But the monster itself was gone, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a lingering sense of unease. Years have passed since the Enfield Monster terrorized the small town in Illinois. The creature was never caught, its origins never explained. It remains a mystery, a chilling tale whispered around campfires and late-night diner tables. The legend of the Enfield Monster continues to fascinate and frighten. Books have been written, documentaries filmed, all attempting to shed light on the creature's true nature. Yet the mystery endures. Was it an alien visitor, a genetic experiment gone wrong, or simply a figment of a town's collective imagination fueled by fear and uncertainty? The Enfield Monster serves as a stark reminder of the unknown that lurks at the edges of our understanding. It reminds us that there are still mysteries in this world that science and logic cannot easily explain. And perhaps, most unsettling of all, it reminds us that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones we create in our own minds. The questions linger. What was the Enfield Monster? Where did it come from? And where did it go? These questions, like the creature itself, remain unanswered, lost in the shadows of time and the annals of unexplained phenomena. But one thing is certain: the legend of the Enfield Monster continues to cast a long shadow, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk just beyond the light of our understanding.